Hey YouTube, Ed here with Jack of All Trades, and welcome to another video. So today I've got a Pit Boss 336 GS propane operated tabletop griddle. This is a camping style griddle or a portable griddle, but you could probably use it anywhere you want to, I would imagine. But today we're going to take it out of the box, we're going to test it, we're going to cook some food on it, and I'm going to tell you what I think about it. So stay tuned, let's talk about this griddle. And welcome back. So as per the usual, before we get into this video, I got to ask you to go down and hit this like and subscribe button down below. Make sure you ring the notification bell so you get notified of upcoming videos. If you're liking what I'm doing out here on the Jack of All Trades channel, that would be very much appreciated, and it's the only way I'll ever ask you for support. All right, what do I have here? I have a Pit Boss 336 GS portable tabletop griddle. This thing is run on propane. You can run it either on a 1 pound propane bottle, or you can run it off of a larger bottle if you get the adapter hose for it. Why did I buy this? Several reasons why I bought this. One, I'm going to build a camper. That's going to be the subject of an upcoming video, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel on that one. I'm going to build a square drop camper, and I'm going to put a little twist on it, so you're not going to want to miss that. The other reason I bought this is because I've actually used one before. I went ATV riding with some friends a few weekends ago, and one of them had brought one of these, and we cooked breakfast on it. Actually, it was breakfast for supper, and it worked really well, and I'm really happy with it. And another reason I bought it is because you know me well enough to know that I don't like paying exorbitant prices for products when it's really not necessary. And I had been looking at a Blackstone, because that is all the rage now. Everybody loves these Blackstone griddles, but what I don't like about the Blackstone is their price tag. And so I decided I was going to go with the Pit Boss, one, because I have experience with it, two, because it's more affordable, and three, it will absolutely fill my need and do exactly what I need it to do. Normally you can find these things online for anywhere from $125 to $130. Now, I picked this one up off of Facebook Marketplace from a gentleman, so I got a bit of a deal on it. So it was even less than that, which is another reason why I decided to purchase it. But normally these are about in the $125 to $130 range, and if you look for them on sale, you can sometimes get them a little less expensive. But these are very affordable. So let's go ahead and let's take a couple of seconds here. Let's unbox this thing and let's see what we get inside of the package, because I haven't even opened it yet. It's still sealed brand new in the box, and let's see what we have. All right, what have we got inside of the box here? So typically, and as per the usual, you get a whole bunch of styrofoam in these things. The guy who sold it to me is true to his word. This thing has never been out of the box. Cover. Sweet, we get a cover with it. Something you don't get with the Blackstone, I don't believe. I don't believe you get a cover, because I see the covers sold separately on their website pretty regularly. All right, so one thing I'm noticing right off the bat, the thing was packaged very well, but inside there is a bunch of this little styrofoam residue. You are going to want to get that out of here before you fire this thing up. If you have never smelled burning styrofoam, it's not a pleasant smell, and you don't want to get this crap all over the inside of your brand new griddle. And so there is styrofoam in here. Make sure you clean all that out. So inside the box we get the cover, you get your various peripherals as you would fully expect. Looks like you get the regulator, And there is some assembly required because we have our grease cup and then the legs are not installed. So we have to install the legs on this thing. So first off, let's just take the regulator out of the bag. So this regulator is labeled for the 336GS 5-year warranty. That's kind of nice. I didn't know Pit Boss had that good of a warranty on their equipment. So our regulator doesn't look like it's damaged or in bad shape or anything like that, and kind of neat. Pit Boss gives you a fun little spot here in the bottom to store your regulator. So we get 4 plastic legs, and they are threaded quite long for leveling. So if you're using this in a situation where your tabletop isn't quite level, you can level it. Let's go ahead and install these legs. All right, so the legs threaded in without issue. So that means they had enough quality control to make the legs nice. Looks like we have our grease catch right here, which we actually have to physically install the grease catch shelf. So I had to go in and borrow my wife's junk drawer Phillips head screwdriver out of the kitchen. You will need a Phillips head screwdriver to complete this assembly. And there we go. It is basically assembled. Put the griddle on top, and there it is. So let's talk about it. All right, so the setup on this thing was actually pretty easy. There wasn't much to it. The legs, the grease trap, install a regulator, Bob's your uncle. So right out of the gate, fit and finish of the unit, it looks nice. Is exactly what I would expect from Pit Boss. Pit Boss is a pretty good name in outdoor cooking equipment, and they've got a pretty good reputation. So I see no issues there. In the box, you obviously get the griddle, the regulator, all the parts you need. You get your instruction manual, and I'll admit I read the instruction manual prior to doing this video. I read it online before I opened the box. So you get your instruction manual, and nice that you get a cover. Very nice that you actually get a cover. Very impressed with that. You don't often get little things like this, and though it doesn't look like it's much of a cover, I mean, it's not like it's super heavy duty or anything, but they do give you a cover. So kind of the thought that counts, if you will. So let's talk about some specifications here, and I had to write them down because I'm old and I can't remember. So we got 289 square inches of cooking space. We're 18.5 inches by 14.3 inches on the size of the griddle. Between the 2 burners, which are made out of stainless steel, we've got 18,000 BTUs worth of burner heat. And the griddle material itself is about 4.5, they say 4.7 millimeters thick. And it's pre-seasoned with an organic oil, so they did take the time to pre-season this for you. Push button ignition, it's very lightweight. Non-slip legs, and I did notice that when I was installing the legs are non-slip. And just a very good portable unit altogether. Now, I did look at Blackstones, and to get a 2-burner unit, you have to go up to a 22-inch Blackstone, and it's going to cost you somewhere in the vicinity of about $250. To be comparable to the size of this particular unit, you have to go down to a 17-inch Blackstone, which is still about $199.99, and they're sold out on the Blackstone website. But when you go down to the 17-inch, you only get 1 burner. They do not have a 2-burner option in this size, and I really like having a 2-burner option, just because then you can regulate both sides of the griddle. Somewhat, you can lower the temperature on one side and keep it a little higher on the other. And I just like the idea of having two burners. It's just something that really appeals to me. The size is perfect. I don't want to go any bigger than this because with camping, weight and size and storage and all those things all do come into account. And I wanted this size unit. So between the price, the size of the unit, the fact that it's got two burners, all things that I really do appreciate with the Pit Boss unit as opposed to the Blackstone. Now, I've never cooked on a Blackstone. My neighbor's got a Blackstone and he absolutely loves it. So I'm not going to sit here and bash on him, but just looking at the technical specifications alone, the size of the unit and the overall cost, this to me is a little bit more appealing and a little bit more attractive, and it's the same concept as a Blackstone. All right, so enough of that. We've talked about the specifications. Now, the first thing that Pit Boss says you have to do is you have to do what they call a burn off, which is turn the machine on or turn the cooker on and let it run at wide open throttle for about 15 minutes. That way it clears everything out of the burners and cleans everything out. It takes any or storage stuff or any mess that you might have on the griddle, and it basically burns it all off and it makes it ready to cook. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to fire this thing up and we're going to let her cook for 15 minutes at wide open throttle. I still have to do a leak check on this thing just to verify that nothing's leaking. But once I've done that, I'll go ahead and I will turn this thing on and we'll cook it off for 15 minutes. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to cook breakfast because I haven't eaten breakfast yet and I'm hungry. I've had some coffee, but I haven't had my breakfast yet. So we're actually going to cook a meal on this and I'm going to let you know what I think of it. All right, so as you can see, this thing is starting to turn a little bit of color. I've got both the burners running wide open. We've had it running for about 10 minutes now, so we know it's heating really well. I can feel the heat off. It's getting really, really hot. We're going to go ahead and let her run for another 5 minutes, and then we're going to shut her down and we're going to start cooking. All right, so I'm a little partial to cooking on a flat top griddle because once upon a time in a younger man's life, I cooked in a restaurant and we used obviously big griddles or big grills to cook on because food production is extremely quick when you're using a nice big griddle. And I just really got used to cooking on a griddle, and to be honest with you, there's not much to get used to. They are so convenient and handy to cook with. You can cook anything you want on a griddle. You can do breakfast, you can do lunch, you can do supper, you can do it all. You can do steaks, you can do grilled sandwiches like grilled cheeses, and sometimes I like to put roast beef or turkey inside of my grilled cheeses and do various kinds of melts. Reubens, which are something I really like, you do those on a griddle. They're just so convenient. You can literally cook every meal on a flat top griddle, and this is really, in all truth and honesty, the only cooking appliance that you would need to cook with. Now, you're going to use grills and open fires and stuff like that to make brats and things just because you want to switch it up. But there's nothing saying you can't cook all of those items on this griddle. Now, I've got this griddle set pretty low. I don't like to cook on a real high heat. I cook on low heat most of the time. And I obviously like to cook my bacon first because I like cooking on top of bacon grease. It just gives everything that extra added bit of flavor, which is also the like about cooking on a griddle with a steel top like this is a lot of that flavor stays in the griddle itself and makes all of your food taste that much better. So let's go ahead and let's fry up my bacon here, and then we'll cook the rest of the breakfast. looks awesome. All right. Bacon is nice and crispy. Well, there's nothing wrong with any of that. All right, I'm going to eat my breakfast, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about this griddle. And so there it is. It worked. It worked flawlessly, and it worked just like I expected it to. And honestly, it worked just like the one that I used that my friend had when we were camping and ATV riding. So overall, what do I think? I really like the unit, especially for the price point. You know, $130. I like the fact that it's a steel griddle top. It's got good grease disposal on the side. It's got a fairly sizable grease cup on it. The burners are hot. The burners are really, really hot. A lot of times people look at burner BTUs and think the higher the better, but that is not always the case. These burners are far hotter than they need to be. I cooked that entire breakfast on low, and it was plenty hot, and you still have to be pretty vigilant on these, just like with any other griddle system. And obviously, you know, if the wind picks up or something like that, it's fairly well shielded from the wind. But if you're in a super windy situation, you might have to be in an area where it's a little more shielded. But the griddle is extremely hot. If you put it on high, you will never need the high setting. And like I said, unless you are using the griddle to, say, boil water or something of that effect. And even then, the 18,000 BTUs between the two burners, I'm assuming that that is split, probably 9,000 per burner, because they give an overall rating of 18,000 BTUs. But it gets plenty hot. There's no problem with hot. The cooking surface size is just perfect for, was easily perfect for one person. I would have no problem whatsoever cooking for 3 or 4 people on this thing, as long as you know how to do food management on a griddle surface. When we were camping in Park Rapids, I was the one that did the cooking on the griddle, and I cooked breakfast for supper for 3 people, for 3 grown men. So I did all the bacon first, and then I put the bacon aside, and then I made pancakes and eggs, and it was no problem cooking for 3 grown adults. You just have to understand griddle management and be able to cook things in the right sequence and in the right order so that everybody gets fed. Would it be nicer to have a bigger one? I would say if you're going to feed any more than 4 people, yes, it would be nicer, depending on what the meal is. If you're cooking hamburgers, piece of cake. You could put 9 hamburgers on here at one shot, easy, and effectively feed 9 people all at the same time. So it really depends on the food, but I really like the griddle itself. The heat, the temperature, the cooking surface, the price point, everything about the griddle I very much appreciate, and I have no complaints about whatsoever. Get yourself a scraper. You're going to want that. I like the fact that it's not a Teflon or no stick surface, which means I can use metal spatulas and scrapers on it, and I don't have to worry about damaging it. And then you saw cleanup. Just get it hot, add a little water, scrape it all down into the grease tray, and re-season it. You're ready to go. Let it cool off, and then once it's cool, put the cover on it and stow it. So I really like the Griddle a lot. Now I don't have a frame of reference. Maybe the Blackstone is better. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I just know it's more expensive. And in order to get a 2-burner unit in this cook surface size, Blackstone doesn't have that. They've only got a 1-burner, but they have some kind of H burner on there that they say has really nice heat distribution. I have no frame of reference. Maybe someday if I get my hands on a Blackstone, I'll try it out and I can compare the two. But for right now, the Pit Boss, very, very happy with it. Very happy I picked this thing up. I like it much better than the last griddle I purchased when I did my budget camping with Amazon gear. So all that being said, I really like the unit. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up. Now, if you're liking what you see here on the Jack of All Trades channel, please make sure you go down and hit that like and subscribe button, and make sure you ring that notification bell. Although I do put out a video every week, Saturday morning, 8 o'clock. So the notification bell is just a reminder that I have put out a new video. But I do put out one every week without fail, and I'm going to really try hard to keep that trend going and not miss any Saturdays. With that, this is Ed from Jack of All Trades. As always, thank you for stopping by. Thank you to my longtime subscribers. We will see you on the next video.